All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this one. And like I said in the last video, I was going to keep y'all up to date as more information come out. And at this point, at the recording this video, Vance Bolter, the Minnesota killer, has not turned himself in yet. The cops don't know where he's at. And like I said, he has been caught on camera. We have those images of him being caught on camera wearing some type of latex mask and a security uniform. So I'm about to get ready and show y'all that in just a few minutes. And now, like I said before in the last video, that Tampon Tim Waltz is in hot water. And I'm pretty much hearing that Tim Waltz knew about all of this. They didn't like that Melissa Hortman, sided with President Trump. So it's like, I just don't get it, man. I really just don't get it. This right here is just insane. But the No Kings killer has been caught on camera, and we have the images. And like I said, something need to be done to Tim Waltz as well, because they the one who pushing this violence and stuff like this. He's the one constantly pushing this. Oh, the Democrats need to get meaner. They need to do this. They need to do this. So it's just crazy to me, but we about to go ahead and dive straight into it because, like I said, Benny has more information on all of this right here. So like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the ones who always stay and watch their entire video and let me know in the comment section that you did make it to the end. I appreciate all of you that does that because it definitely helps get the video out there. And shout out to the ones who always hit that like button as well. I appreciate all of you. And like I said, make sure you are subscribed with your notifications on. That way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive straight into it. So we're going to start with a few of these reports, and then we're going to get straight into the video, all right? So as y'all can see right here on screen by Nick Sorter, he said, just in, security cam images show assassin Vance Bolter knocking on a Minnesota lawmaker's door wearing a latex mask and a security guard uniform meant to look like a police officer. You can even see police lights from his security vehicle flashing. This is terrifying. So this is what he was wearing. This is what the camera caught. Look what this guy got on. Got the flashlight, got the guns, got everything on, looking like he's a police officer except with that mask on because he wanted to hide his face. But we know who he is now. So we're going to check this out right here. And not only that, and you can see Tim Waltz, not only Vance Bolter, but his wife Jenny also worked for Tim Waltz. Think about this. The assassin Vance Bolter's wife, Jenny, also worked for Tim Waltz. She worked for him in Washington, D.C. in the early 2010s while he was a congressman. Their connection to Waltz go way back. Must investigate. So you can see the picture of them right here. And you can see Tim Waltz. It's like Tim Waltz is in connection with this guy. So this right here got 1.4 million views already. So if y'all remember this right here, it said in a matter of just weeks, 2 Tim Waltz officials have committed acts of political terror. First, you had a Waltz employee. Think about this, a Tim Waltz employee vandalizing Teslas over Musk. Now you have a Waltz appointee assassinating politicians. DOJ should launch an investigation into Waltz and his government. And I agree 100%. But we'll get into this in a minute. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, vandalizing Teslas. Now you got this guy right here, Vance Bolton, assassinating politicians all because they sided with President Trump. So it really just don't make no sense at all. And if y'all remember this right here when, J.D. Vance, just straight destroyed Tim Waltz. Y'all remember when Tim Waltz said that he is friends with school shooters? Because remember, we covered this. He said he is friends with school shooters. Check this out just in case you forgot.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look.
He become friends with school shooters. So just in case a lot of you missed the video yesterday, make sure y'all go back and watch that one as well. But right here, it said breaking Dr. Vance Bolter, the Tim Waltz appointee who allegedly took out Representative Melissa Hortman, is the director of security patrols at a security firm in Minnesota. Then he goes on to say, this explains how he would have access to a law enforcement-like vehicle in uniform as police have reported. He also did work in Gaza and other places overseas. Interesting enough. Photos of the Pretoria Security's website. So this is kind of vehicle that he was in. And this look like this right here is what he was wearing. So like I said, this is Vance Bolter, the suspect who killed Representative Melissa Hortman this morning has been identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolter, law enforcement tells. Bolter was a Tim Waltz appointee to one of the governor boards. With a shock, he's connected to Tim Waltz. And of course, these the No Kings photos, papers that they found inside the vehicle. So it's the man who took out Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman this morning had No Kings flyers in his car. More Democrat terrorism. All No Kings protests should be canceled now. And like I said, this is Melissa Hortman right here. When she voted against these illegal aliens, having hair care, she was already breaking down, like crying and stuff like that. So it's like she knew she would end up being a target, but not like this. Especially, about another Democrat because, they got mad that you voted against these illegal aliens who shouldn't even be here. They shouldn't have no health care. They shouldn't have no due process, nothing. But this is what she was saying.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and I'm...
You see, she was already breaking down. She said, I knew people would be hurt by that vote. Look at this.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and I'm... We worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
So, not only that, before we get to the video, I want to show y'all this one right here. So, this guy right here is the roommate and friend of the shooter, Vance Bolter. So, according to this video, it's like Vance Bolter sent this guy right here, his roommate, a message. Pretty much saying, pretty much admitting that he did it. So we look right here. It's the roommate and friend of the Minnesota shooting suspect breaks down in tears as he read his final text. The friend claimed Vance Bolter was a Trump voter and hated abortion. That right there is a lie. I can't stand when they do that. Quit trying to put Donald Trump in stuff. When it got something to do with somebody being killed, they always trying to throw Trump up in. Oh, he was a Trump voter. If he was a Trump voter, and Melissa Hortman sided with President Trump, then why would that guy commit that murder then? So, I mean, you can't be doing it. That right there is just a complete lie. Because she sided with President Trump. So you telling me he's a Trump voter and she sided with President Trump and he still did that? Like, come on. No, he was not a Trump voter. They always run with this. Every time something happened, they always try to throw President Trump in the mix. But listen to this guy right here breaking down because he reading the text.
I love you guys. I made some choices and you guys don't know anything about this, but I'm going to be gone for a while. Sorry.
Take your time.
Maybe dead shortly. So I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish it hadn't gone this way. I don't want to say anything more and implicate you in any way, because you guys don't know anything about this. But I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
I have no care in the world about him, crying over a man who just did some crap like that. I mean, forget that. Forget that. But let's go ahead and dive straight into this video by Benny, because he has a little bit more up on this. Let's go.
In order to show you something that will chill your blood and shake you to the bones. This is the face of Vance Luther Bolter, who gunned down in a politically targeted assassination multiple members of the Minnesota State House, killing one. These members of the Minnesota State House had just sided with Republicans on critical legislation, and Vance was affected by that legislation. He's also somebody who has been appointed by Tim Walz and has even more Tim Walz connections. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this was what Vance looked like when he committed his killings, his targeted political killings.
That's crazy though, man. Wow.
Just hours ago. Vance was wearing what seems to be a Walter White mask. It's a Walter White modeled after, of course, the famous Breaking Bad character, who is the one who knocks and then somebody gets shot. Do you understand? This is Utterly terrifying. Halloween mask-wearing suspect plotted killing as police revealed possible motive. Look at this horrifying image here.
That's insane.
Bolitar dressed as a police officer. He worked for a security company. And now we know that he was wearing this mask. We have the first imagery of his murders. Minnesota shooting live, utterly terrifying Halloween mask suspect. I am the one who knocks. Evil. Halloween mask wearing suspect on Saturday's politically motivated assassinations in Minnesota is believed to have left the area. FBI announced a reward of $50,000 for information leading to the arrest. Chilling images from the murders have now been released. State Representative Melissa Hortman was shot along with fellow Democrat State Senator John Hoffman in a chilling assassination spree in the early hours on Saturday morning. Hortman and her husband were tragically killed while Hoffman and his wife suffered serious injuries and were raced to the emergency room. They hopefully will recover. The suspect has been identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolitar, the employee of a security company, Praetorian Guard Security, where he works as the director of security patrols, according to the website. Investigators believe Bolitar was attempting to potentially flee the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area. Minnesota authorities have released several photographs of the suspected gunman, including him wearing a Halloween mask for the shootings. It is a mask that is modeled after the one who knocks.
They had to be scared of somebody coming to your door wearing a mask like that. Even if he dressed up as a police, I'm thinking to myself, why would a police have a mask on? So I mean, this right here is just insane. He needs to be caught. And like I said, you know, the Democrats are blamed for this, all this violence they've been pushing, these dumb no kings protest crap that they got going on. This is what they be doing. And like I said, we even had text from Tim Waltz was talking about Democrats need to get meaner. They need to do this. They need to do that. And then stuff like this happen. And then they want to play victim and stuff and cry at podiums, acting like they really care when they really don't.
It's a Walter White mask. That's what it is. You see the goatee. You can see this is a Walter White mask. The around the eyes. There are more images of it, by the way. Like you can see here.
Look at that.
Holy smokes. This is you can see best res here. You can see it. It's the Walter White mask. That's absolutely what this is. You see with the wrinkles around the face and the eyes. Holy smokes, man. This is crazy.
It is.
Minnesota authorities admitted they let the gunman who shot Representative Hortman and her husband slip away despite engaging him in a firefight immediately after the murders around 4 a.m. local time. The first shooting occurred just after 2 a.m. Hoffman's home in Chaplin, about 20 miles from Minneapolis. Hoffman and his wife were shot multiple times, reportedly following the surgery. The second attack took place around 4 a.m. The cops released a terrifying image of the suspect wearing a Halloween mask. There you go. It truly is the thing of nightmares. Somebody shows up at your house looking like this. Dear God, just don't answer. Don't answer the door.
Exactly.
Jeez. It's just terrible. Well, here's him unmasked. This is his face. I guess there's like mixed messages as to what he may have been targeting here, but here's the breakdown that's gone, the most viral, and I suppose makes the most sense. It definitely connects. This man was not a Republican. This man was appointed to multiple boards by Tim Walz, the Democrat governor. He worked for Democrat.
Exactly. He worked for Democrats, and that's the thing that I'm talking about now, that the guy, his roommate, talking about that he was a Trump supporter. Like, no, he wasn't. They got to stop doing it. Every time something happened or somebody get taken out or whatever the case may be, they all want to say, oh, that person supported President Trump. No. We ain't going for that. We is not going for that.
NGOs. His wife was a intern for Tim Walz when he was a member of Congress. So this man, not a Republican. The legislature had just repealed health care for criminal aliens. And Melissa Hortman, who's now deceased, was the only Democrat who voted with Republicans to make sure that the bill passed. She broke down in tears after this vote, effectively knowing that she would be now a target. Tim Walz, for his part in this, had just a week ago told Democrats that they need to get a lot meaner, more aggressive. Ladies and gentlemen. Police have said this is a political targeting, called it a political targeting. And of course, the man who targeted this moderate Democrat also happens to, here we go, have been appointed to the governor's workforce development board. Tim Walz's signature right there. That's not an auto pen. That's a real signature. Vance Bollinger. There you go. But then it gets even crazier. He also happened to have the No Kings flyers in the back of his car. This is, of course, the anti-Trump left-wing protest that has, gripped the nation. Tim Walz saying, of course, he's friends with shooters. Now I guess it's proven to be true.
Exactly what he said.
Tim Walz also has further connections to this, as Tim Walz was slated to speak at the No Kings rally just today. Isn't that crazy? This was since canceled since the shootings. It gets worse, though, ladies and gentlemen. Vance Bollinger was also working for a nonprofit called the Red Lions Group that received federal funding. What was their goal? Their goal was to relocate Africans from Africa into Minnesota. Now, why would somebody who was part of a shady nonprofit want to commit murder, especially right on the eve of the moderate Democrats deciding to shut off free Medicaid and Medicare for illegal aliens?
And they shouldn't have it.
But if his livelihood is tied to how many Africans can you relocate to Minnesota for free health care, then I have a feeling this guy took a massive hit. Anyway, President Trump said that he's on it. Obviously, all of the law enforcement agents inside of the Trump administration have said that they are on it. Bongino being one of them who popped off right away. In a matter of just 2 weeks, 2 Tim Walz officials have committed acts of political terror. First, you have Walz's employee vandalizing Teslas.
Yep, that's what I read earlier.
Jackass. And now you have a Walz appointee assassinating politicians. The DOJ should launch an investigation into Tim Walz. Seriously. And then here we go. The Minnesota shooting suspect's Vance Bollinger's wife interned for Tim Walz back in 2010. So don't tell me that.
So, like I'm saying, Tim Walz know about the wife, and he know about Vance Bollinger. So that's why I said something has to be done to Tim Walz as well, because I believe he, like I say, allegedly probably hired this guy, but he trying to play cover up. I don't trust Tim Walz at all. I definitely don't trust a man that don't know how to load a damn shotgun. That's why I said we dodged the bullet of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz running this country. We dodged a freaking bullet. I'm telling you that now.
Didn't know him. Don't tell me that Tim Walz didn't know him. That is crazy, though. It all makes sense. Disguise yourself as a white supremacist, kill the people who vote across party line. Trump takes the blame per usual.
That's what they do. Here? That's all they do.
Or was it a Walter White? Was this like a shout out to the Walter White line? I don't know, man. But it's freaking terrifying. This is just crazy. Alleged Minnesota shooter Vance Bollinger attempted to gain entry, mask, shaved head. Appears to be an attempt to obscure appearance while gaining entry. Yeah, he's totally wearing a mask. The feds have raided his home, but they didn't find anyone. So here's the description, ladies and gentlemen. The Department of Public Safety released, he's 6'1", 220. He's believed to still be in the Twin Cities area at some point in the morning. Security footage shows him in Minneapolis wearing a light-colored cowboy hat, dark-colored coat, a dark bag. He may be preparing to flee the area. Call 911 immediately. Assume that he's armed and dangerous. And here it is, the tip line information. There you go. The things of nightmares, man.
This is
the total
crazy,
things of nightmares. Absolute horrifying.
So it's just stuff like this just scared the mess out of you, man. Like somebody coming to your door at 4 a.m. dressed like a police and wearing a mask. Like if I looked out my window and seen that, it could have been a police officer. I'm not opening my door. Why? If you're a police officer, why you got a mask on? So that right there would have just, gave me a red flag. Like, nah, something ain't right. I'm gonna go get my gun. Like something ain't right. But I mean, man, you got to be very, very careful nowadays, man. Like just answering the door, especially at 4 a.m. in the morning. You didn't call the police. You didn't hear no loud music. You didn't hear anything for them to even be at your house at that time of morning, especially wearing a mask. So it's like,
like leftism is a mental illness. Pray for the families. It's freaking awful.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Super creepy and dark. Okay, I really hope they find this bastard. And release the damn manifesto, will you? Can you release the freaking manifestos? Of course they won't. Release the manifestos. Here's Fox News' most up-to-date reporting on what we know so far.
Happening across the country right now against the Trump administration. Speaking of President Trump, he released a statement after he says he was briefed. Quote, I have been briefed on this terrible shooting that took place in Minnesota, which appears to be a targeted attack against state lawmakers. Our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and the FBI are investigating the situation. They will be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota, a truly great place. And police say that there was also a manifesto with the names of other public officials found inside that car. There is a massive manhunt underway. The FBI on the ground, all hands on deck, trying to find this shooter, John.
And presumably, Brooke, some of the other people on that list could have been victims of this same shooter had police not acted as proactively as they did in the wee hours of the morning.
Exactly. You would imagine, you don't think that he probably, the shooter thought that police would get there right away because, again, they acted as a precaution. They knew that these two state lawmakers lived just miles away from each other. So police took it upon themselves to go there, check it out. And that's when they came face to face with him. They stopped him in his tracks. And you never know, most likely could have stopped another event from happening. And he probably had to change course and change his plan after he came face to face with those officers.
And the search.
And he also had to ditch his car, of course.
Right. The search for that gunman is still going on, very much centered around the area where the.
That's what I was trying to say. Like, if they came face to face, how in the world did they let him? Did he get away? If they came face to face with him, and he still got away, that is crazy. I don't know. Something ain't adding up. Something is not adding up.
where the shooting last took place.
And you imagine he couldn't have got far. He's on foot right now. He had to ditch his car. So we hope, we're waiting. I've been checking my emails, my phone, have calls in. We're just waiting to hear some good news that there's been a safe capture.
So there we go right there, man. Y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about all of this. Like I said, I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out. As of the recording of this video, he has not been caught yet. And as soon as they catch him, we will come back with another video. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to the ones who did make it to the end. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.